Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this Zoom webinar. We are excited to offer this educational webinar during this time of self-isolation and physical distancing. The presentation portion of this webinar will be recorded for future viewing. This education presentation is for knowledge building. As everyone's situation is unique, should you have any specific questions related to your current situation, please contact your support worker to discuss things further, as this presentation is for educational purposes and not specific advice for your situation. Once we get started, we will do our best to answer any general questions at the end of the presentation. If you scroll your mouse down towards the bottom of your screen, some icons will appear and you should see a Q&A box, and if you click on this Q&A box, it will appear on your screen. This is where you can enter any questions you may have. Let's begin. So today I'm going to be talking about Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dina Boone, and I'm the Public Education Coordinator for the Alzheimer's Society in London and Middlesex. We are excited to bring to you this education webinar during this time of self-isolation and physical distancing. The presentation portion of this webinar will be recorded for future viewing. This education presentation is for your knowledge building. Since everyone's situation is unique, the information being provided today is for educational purposes and not specific advice for your current situation. Should you have any specific questions related to your current situation, please contact your support worker to discuss things further. Once the presentation is complete, we will do our best to answer any questions you may have. If you scroll your mouse down, move your mouse down towards the bottom of your screen, you will see various icons appear. There should be a Q&A box icon. If you click on this icon, a box will appear, and this is where you can enter your questions. Let's begin. So today I'm going to be talking about what to do if a person living with dementia goes missing. I'm just going to go over a brief outline as to what topics I will cover. Disorientation and getting lost. Some suggestions by people living with dementia. Being prepared. Identification for the person with dementia. What to do if a person with dementia goes missing. What to do after an incident. Services offered by the Alzheimer's Society, London and Middlesex, along with living safely with dementia, and resources available. So here are some situations where a person with dementia may become confused or lost if they go for a walk or a drive, even if the routes are familiar. Going on a short errand, even just going to the grocery store that they are very familiar with. Losing a sense of direction in a crowd. Being in a place with too much noise, such as the mall or an airport. Taking a shortcut and then not knowing where to go. And then experiencing side effects from a medication that they may have just currently started using. I just want to stress really strongly that it is really, really important to consider the possibility of your loved one going lost, even if you don't think that there is any issue or any reason for you to be concerned. 60% of people who are living with dementia do go missing without any warning at all, even early on into their journey. I've read many articles, and most recently I read an article about a couple who live in the UK. This woman's husband has dementia, and he was fairly early on into his journey, and his wife, would leave him for short periods of time at home, just running short errands and not thinking anything of it because there had never been any issue, with him leaving the home at any other time, and he was totally fine to be there. So one day she had gone out to run an errand, and when she came back, unfortunately, he was not there. So of course you can imagine the panic that set in for her. She didn't have anything prepared. She had no idea. She was totally stressed about the fact that she couldn't believe that this actually happened. She looked all over the house for him, and didn't call the police right away, which is a bit of a delay, unfortunately, which I will talk further about during my presentation. She did eventually call the police, provided all the necessary information that she could remember at the time, because it was difficult. You know, when we're stressed, we don't always have our memories that come back to us readily. And so fortunately for her, her situation ended with a happy ending, and her husband were reunited. And then of course, after this incident, she reevaluated the situation and put things in place. So I just really, really want to stress that even though you don't think there's any issue, it's always best to be prepared ahead of time. And worst case scenario, you're all prepared, and you don't have to use any of the information or any of the resources that you've put in place, which would be great. So here are some tips that are actually suggested by people living with dementia. They get help from family and friends. So for example, when they go for a walk or a drive, they will go on the same route. And sometimes, you know, the person with dementia would prefer to go on their own, of course, just like we all would. However, they do realize that the reason that why their loved ones are going with them is just to make sure that they are still familiar with their routes, so that when they do venture off onto their own, they will be safe and they'll be able to return home with no problem. Using memory aids. So for example, if the person with dementia puts their home phone number on the back of their phone, and should they happen to get disoriented while they're out and about and they ask for help, then that person could look on their phone and they could actually call that number, and then it would be easy for them to connect with somebody right away. Staying safe. So often people with dementia, before they start venturing out, whether it's in a car or for a walk, they will look outside and make a judgment as well. What's the weather like? Is it really cold out? Is it rainy? You know, because if the temperature is not ideal, or if the weather is not ideal, then they know that this may hinder how they feel. It won't make them feel right, and it may cause them some issues when they're out and about, and it may cause them to with some confusion while they're out running their errands. So they perhaps might decide not to go out at that time, and they'll just wait until another time when the weather is better. Oh, my apologies. So of course, the last thing, every person has their own strategies as well that is specific to them, that they will put into place. So for example, they might wear the same shirt or the same running shoes. They might have some device on their shoes that will help them, like a tracking device as well. So everyone has their own strategies as well that helps them to keep themselves safe. So being prepared. So it's really important as a family to consider, you know, some identification options that are available, whether it's with a specific program or customized identification, which I will talk a little bit further through my presentation. You can fill out an identification kit, which is a tool that can help you keep organized and have really important information about your loved one, not only medical information, but very specific information related to them. So for example, you know, what are their likes and their dislikes and what their behavior is like. So really, really important information should they go missing to inform police. Also, another good idea is to take a picture of any sort of identification or kit that you have put together so that it's easily accessible. So here are some options that you might want to consider and are available. The Medical Alert Safety Home Program is a program that is a partnership between the Medical Alert Foundation and the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. This is a nationwide partnership, and they provide service 24/7. I mentioned earlier you could also purchase some customized identification, such as a generic bracelet that you can buy at a drugstore or a jeweler. You can create your own personal ID card that you could actually put into a wallet or a purse or a pocket. Or you can even put the ID card, create an ID card and put it in a lanyard if that's easier. And again, an identification kit. which I will speak to as well, and it can be found on our Finding Your Way website. So what do you actually do if someone with if a person with dementia goes missing? So the first and foremost is to remain calm so you can think clearly. Easier said than done, I know. And just to try to remember that you're not alone if this should happen. There are other people that are ready to help you and are able. When a person with dementia goes missing, it is an emergency. So please do not delay your response. Act quickly. The first thing you need to do is call 911 as soon as possible. Let the police know that the person who's gone missing has dementia and try to think about how long it's been since the last time you saw them. Let the police know if they have any information that you have in your ID kit or any specific identification that's related to them, as well as a recent photo, which would be very helpful. Tell the police of any locations where they may go, so perhaps like a past workplace or grocery store or a favorite coffee shop that they might go to. Tell the police if they are registered with the Medical Alert Safely Home program, because this is a database, they, as police officers, have access to this. Specifically in the London and our county, they definitely have access to this program. Also let the police know if the person is wearing any locating devices, which would be helpful. If the person has gone and left in a car, then share the details of the car. So whether the year, the make, the model, and the color of the car. And if the person uses public transit, perhaps letting the police know of what routes that they may go on and ones that they would take that are familiar. If a person's credit cards are gone, then let the police know as well, because this is another way of tracking the individual. You might also want to consider contacting the credit card company to let them know that the person has gone missing. So once you have passed along your information to the police, which is the first and foremost, part of the reason you want to call the police right away is because you don't want to delay the search to begin. So if you were to stop and if your loved one was missing, and instead of calling the police, then you go around your home to do a quick check, then that's just valuable time where you could have already been connected with the police and they can start their search. So once you have contacted the police, then you can go back into your home and you can do a quick search of, look around your home to see where, possibly the person, if they may be gone. It's really, really important. Sometimes what happens, people go missing and they go hiding. So whether it's in a closet or downstairs, if you have a crawl space in your basement, it's okay to call the police. And then after you've done that, and then you happen to find them in a hiding place, the police would rather you call them first so they can start to look for that individual, as opposed to waiting until you could possibly find them, because you may not find them in your home. And again, that's valuable time that is lost. Check to see if any car keys, are gone, or if any luggage is missing, and any other clues that might give you a thought as to where they may have gone. Alert your friends and neighbors, and make sure that you have someone stay at home in case the person returns on their own. So if you want to go out and do a search, you need to make sure that somebody is still at home waiting for that individual. So if an incident should happen, some of the things that you should do, after reuniting with your loved one, is to remember that the person with dementia is often confused and anxious. You can imagine how they must feel going through that process, the confusion and the fear that must have made them feel to become lost. So it's important to be prepared. And so if the person had left when the weather was bad, for example, perhaps you might want to bring a change of clothing for them. If it was raining, then it might be kind of nice for them to have a warm set of a change of clothes to warm them. You can make sure to approach them calmly and that they can see you coming. Even having like a warm drink or a blanket to help warm them as well, or to comfort them, would be really, really helpful. The person may not actually want to go home with you right away. And if that is the case, then just walk with them and talk with them very calmly, just to sort of talk about their experience and to see, how they're feeling. Provide some reassurance. It's really, really important to reassure the person about where they are and why they are there. Let the person know that you were really, really worried about them, but you're really, really happy to have them home again. Talk to the person about some familiar things. So, for example, a coffee shop that might be near your home, or that you need to go home and feed the dog. This might sort of encourage them to perhaps come home with you. The person may still want to go to the destination that they had set out to go to. So again, if this is the case, then consider going with them so that they can follow through with wherever they wanted to go and then going home. Keeping your perspective. Going missing for a person with dementia can be very, very stressful. And we have to always remember that the behavior, that wandering, is part of the dementia and no one is to blame. Restraint should never, ever be used because they can cause serious effects, and it can also cause high risk for falls, and it can break down people's skins, like their wrist, like if you have the restraints on the wrist. There's been absolutely no evidence at all that restraints actually reduce missing incidents. Ask for help. So after a situation, should you go through a situation like this, it's really, really important to reassess the situation and your current living situation. So a great suggestion would be to contact your support worker or the Alzheimer's Society to talk to your support worker to discuss things further. The Alzheimer's Society London and Middlesex has various services. Our mission is to alleviate personal and social consequences of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, and to promote research. Our vision is to have a world without Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. Our values are to collaborate, accountability, respect, and excellence. We're always here to help. We provide education and resources available for dementia and coping strategies. We offer counseling services, both in the home or office assessments for individuals. We have support groups that are available for care partners and the person with dementia, which are facilitated by social workers. We have various social recreation programs which provide social and cognitive stimulation. We also offer memory screening by our trained social workers for those who are concerned about their memory, perhaps, and even may not really want to go to their doctor at this point to have that screening done. We have personalized in-home recreation programs that also provide socialization and meaningful activities for those who are not able to come to our office physically. We offer a 6-week education program for persons who have been diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. We offer public education for the general public and for health professionals, similar to what I'm doing today. We also have valuable resources within our website. So one of them is Finding Your Way, which I referenced, and the Finding Your Way website is where you will find the identification kit. I have noted that in the resources and have identified all the specific resources throughout my presentation, and you will find them also at the end of this presentation for quick reference. The Medical Alert Safely Home program is also a program that you can access through our website and is also referenced in the resources at the end of this presentation. So here's what the Finding Your Way website looks like. As you can see, there is various tabs here at the top: Living Safely with Dementia, Building Safe Communities. There's an online learning modules, and there's Locating Technology and other resources available. There's also an interactive resource guide for living safely within dementia. And this is a sample of what the different topics are available. So if you're interested specifically in sleeping habits, or you have concerns about someone who's living alone, you just simply click on that topic and then the program will begin. Here are some additional resources that are also available about living safely within our community with dementia. We have a couple of upcoming webinars. We have a guest speaker, Nolana, who will be with us on Friday, May the 29th. She will be talking about wandering and getting lost, and she'll be doing a review of at-home strategies you can use to manage the risks. She's going to cover the topics of wandering and its behavior. She's going to talk about learn the risks that are associated with wandering, getting lost, and being able to identify strategies you can use to manage those risks. Nolana will also be talking about her research that backs up the material that she will be presenting. We have an additional special presentation that will be presented on Friday, June the 5th at 11 a.m. as well. We have one of our clients, Dr. Ron Posnell from the Alzheimer's Society, as well as Laura Geddes, who is a lawyer at Siskins, who specializes in estates and wills. And they will take us through the various changes and realities of life that present in some thoughtful and sensible approaches of someone who is living with dementia. So you can register for either one of those webinars directly on our website. And here is a sample of the resources that I mentioned earlier and all the references as well, specifically. And then these are some additional resources as well that I used to put the presentation together as well. So I thank you for watching today, and should anybody have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them and put them in the Q&A box, or you're more than welcome to call me or to send me an email directly at dboone@alzheimerslondon.ca. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.